Hey guys, welcome to this video. Today we're going to be looking at this golf cart battery replacement. Now this is a lithium iron phosphate lead acid replacement. You would simply take all your lead acid batteries out and replace it with this single battery. Now in the past, if you were using lead acid, you know the hassle of having to break your bank down, having to balance all of your cells out, and then re-establishing your 48 volt connection. This is maintenance free. You do not have to break down your batteries. There's just one positive, one negative, charge it, discharge it, and store it. That's the only thing you need to do with this battery. So taking a look at the front of the battery, you can see we have the name brand here, Clouds Power. Over here we have a barcode, which is indicating your model number, your serial number, in case you need to phone them and talk to them about the battery. We also have a couple of QR codes for their app. They have a monitoring app with Bluetooth, and they have one for Android and one for Apple. You can see here lithium battery, 51.2 volts, 105 amp hours. And then we have 5,376 watt hours. And you can see here CPG 51105P. And we have our warnings down here at the bottom. And on the side here, I'll bring you in a little closer so you can see in a minute. But we have some different ports. And on the side here, we have our negative and our positive, as well as we have our communication switch. Hopefully this shows up. So you can see we have our communications / switch signal, our display port, our communications, our switch, our breather valve, and then our P- and P positive. Now this whole battery is a very nice gray color, as well as it's very well powder coated. Like I could probably take a knife to that and not be able to scratch it. I have scuffed it. You can see a little white scuff right about here. And on the corner here, I scuffed it as well because I've already had this battery in and out of my cart for testing. So those two scuff marks were done by me, but it's not any damage to the paint whatsoever. You can see on the bottom here, we have our mounting points. Now this battery, the width of this battery is 11 inches. So far in my experience on my cart, it's about 10 1/4 for my rails. Your cart may be different, but you may need to build up your own mounting system for your battery and your cart. In my cart, I would have to do so. Not a big deal. Temporarily, I just ratchet strapped it in to test it out. Now let's look at what you get. Now this is a kit. This did come with some other items. So this came with a waterproof charger. We have our positive and negative. Now you'd put the positive and negative lug from your cart that goes to your solenoid and your motor first, and then you would install these lugs here, which I show you in the install part of the video. And we have this little indicator here, which you mount on the cart, and red flashing is charging and green on is fully charged. And you can see there, we have, it indicates what the red and the green lights do. This port here, I'm not sure what this is for. No, I'm not too sure what these two wires do. We have a black and a red wire and a plug-in. Maybe some carts you need to have that as like an override or something. When the charger's on, you can't move the cart or something. That's maybe what that's for. And on the other end, we have a waterproof connector. I've already connected these together. There we go. And there's just 3 wires there, and that's going to be for your ground wire, your neutral wire, and your live wire. These plug in together. And this you will mount on the side of your cart, and the charger you'll take with you wherever you go. So the battery and the charger can stay together, and that way you only need to bring an extension cord and plug it in. No more proprietary connection for your cart. And no more having to lug around the charger if you're going out for, let's say, a long distance ride. And that comes with a hefty cable as well. So they give you an extension cable that you can use. And I believe this is 14 gauge. Yep, this is 14 gauge wire, so you're good for a 15 amp breaker. And that they also include, which is very nice. And then we also have communications here. So on the cord we have a CAN L and a CAN N. So this does signal switching and communications. So I could probably do a CAN bus protocol I don't know what you would need this for in a golf cart battery, to be honest, but if you need communications with your golf cart battery and some sort of protocol, you can do it. Not sure why you would need it. Maybe for a shunt or something, or remote monitoring. Not 100% on that. And then they also give a 2-prong. Yeah, so we have communications here, and this is 2-wire, nothing labeled. All I would use for this battery is the positive, the negative, and the display port. But that's all I would need this for. So we do have something also that states on here that if leaving 5 days or longer, pack must be shut off. So they do suggest that if you're leaving this for 5 days or more, just simply turn that switch off and that will disengage the battery after, yeah, there it goes. Let's cut to some footage of me installing it into the cart and driving it around in the snow. And when we come back, we'll open up the lid and poke around and see if we can spot anything. Okay, and now for the install. You can see inside my engine compartment here. The way this was laid out was there was 8-volt batteries all through this bay, but now they've been removed and I want to place the new lithium iron phosphate battery in here. So you can see my mounting rails here. Now I have a width, I would say 10¼ would fit perfect in here. So unfortunately that battery is actually 11 inches wide. So for my Yamaha cart, now this may be different for yours, but I would say it's a pretty standard size for the 8-volt golf cart batteries across here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this in here, and I'm going to put one end down in here and have the other end sitting up on this side here. And then I'm just going to ratchet strap around it just as a temporary install so I can get the cart to ride around. But something I can do is maybe get a block of wood to sit in right beside these 2 rails and then a piece of plywood on top just to stop it from sliding side to side. And then I could possibly put a piece into here and stop it going this way, and then possibly ratchet strap around. That would be kind of a good fix. There's other things you can do. I mean, you can build it up to secure this battery in here. You don't need much knowledge on construction or anything like that to do it. So let's get that in here. Now I did make a piece of foam so that I'm not sitting on top of the steel and scratching the metal cased battery. So I'm just going to have this in here. And then when I place the battery in, I'm going to put this end up against here and ride up on this side. And there we go. Now, I guess something you could do, get some light in there so you can see what I'm talking about. I suppose you could, yeah, see that's balancing a little bit too close. You can see the rail there and there. You could bolt it down and hope that it doesn't shift, but I would probably build something. It's too bad. It's like 1/2 inch. If this was 1/2 inch narrower, it would have fit down perfectly inside there. Okay, I've got a ratchet strap. And this flooring stuff, guys, this stuff's so cheap. To have it around as softeners is amazing. I would highly recommend picking some up if you don't have any. Okay, and that is plenty secure for my testing. Only thing that is left is to connect your positive and negative. So this is so easy. You just literally match up your positive and then your negative. Now, I would suggest putting the positive lug for the cart first, and then your charger, you can mount this anywhere on board. You just put your positive lug for your cart and then your charger secondary. Now, I'm not going to do that right now because I don't need the onboard charger. And again, places like this where your cables can rub, put some sort of softener or something. But again, I'm just going out for a quick rip, so I'm not too worried right now. And then tighten them down. And now we can plug in the display. And now this display, you can route this nicely underneath the cart. And also here, this is where the switch connector, you can see here communication / switch signal. you would run this into the battery, and this gives you S negative, S positive, and that is going to be to put a remote switch, because there is a switch on here to turn the battery on. So right now the battery is on. Right now that's it. We're ready to go for a ride. Now it is snowing outside, so I'm not going to be going for a long ride here. We'll see how far we get in the snow, and we'll see what happens. So I do have the display here at the front. So I just have it sitting here for now, but very easy to mount. I just have it sitting there, and I have my phone screen recording. So let's see what happens. Like I said, it is snowing out today.
Makes sense what you're saying. Yeah, but now he's back.
Oh, radio's on. All right, let's put you down for a minute. All right, let's try this. Woo, we're spinning tires. Let's try a donut. Hold on. Fishtail. Let's try that again. Okay, so as you can see, it works. And I was doing some fishtailing there. Okay, now that was a quick test. Not bad. Not bad at all. So now let's do a teardown and we'll see what's on the inside. Okay, worthy mention as well is that we do have some handles here that are spring loaded, and we have Phillips screws around the perimeter to take the lid off. So I'm going to remove those Phillips screws and see what we got. Okay, now that's all the perimeter screws out now. Ooh, that came off nice. Okay, so you can see we do have the screw heads punctured up through. These are kind of friction fitted on here. Now looking at this here, this looks very nice. Okay, so you can see here we have 16 cells. So we are starting with the main positive here, and then it runs over to this side, comes over this side, which then comes over to this side, jumps over, runs over. Pretty ingenious how they have this set up, and then runs all the way through, crisscrossing all the way down here to the main negative post. And now here's the main positive, which comes down to an A&L fuse. We have the BMS, which is down inside of the case here. Nice build quality as far as everything is wrapped. You can see here all the connections here are glued, and everything seems to be tight. We have from the main positive, which runs down, this is a bus bar, solid bar that runs through, runs into this side here, which then that turns, comes over up into the post here for the positive. I do have a temperature sensor here, as well as a temperature sensor here, and all of the wires are nicely wrapped and very, very clean looking as far as the install. Now I'm going to see if I can get a QR reading off of the barcode here. I might have to take off one of these channels and see if I can't get a reading. Okay, so I'm not able to get a scan on the QR code. Not sure if it's because they marked it with permanent marker, but my scanning app did not pick it up. I'll leave a screenshot up if anybody wants to look that up and let us know in the description below. But another thing worthy mentioning is that I do see that we have like aluminum brackets on either side of the battery. And then we do have some resin board. We have resin board around the perimeter, as well as there's resin board in between the cells where they series over. And we also have fish paper in between each individual cell. So all in all, the build quality looks really good. I don't necessarily want to pull the BMS out. I would have to pull off all of these brackets here, these bus bars, pull out the fuse, possibly remove these switches here on the side. So I don't really want to pull out the BMS. I'm positive it works fine. You've seen I had it out on the cart there and I was getting full amperage, no disconnect. I even turned up, I have an aftermarket controller that allows me to increase the amount of amps that goes to the motor. And I turned that up full and we were doing some fishtailing and spinning the tires in the snow and no issues there. So this battery works great. Let's do a capacity test on this battery and see if we can't pull full capacity. Let's try doing a low temperature disconnect test on the BMS for charging. So we're going to charge it. So right now you can see we're charging with almost 5 amps and I have a bit of snow here. So let's put that sensor directly into the snow. Okay, we're still charging and we are still charging. Now it may need time to cool the sensor down, or it may be that both sensors need to be cold at the same time, which I have run into a few times before. Well, that is directly in the snow. Let me run into the house and get an actual cold pack. Okay, now we have an ice pack. Start charging. Boop. There we go. The snow wasn't cold enough. I needed an ice pack. You can see there it's showing -6 right now. It might have disconnected at like -5 or 0. It's showing -4 right now. We're still disconnected. -2. Let's warm this back up. So you can see too, we have 4 different temperature sensors. Okay, so here's 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So we have 4 different temperature sensors on this battery and they're directly glued to the cell. So now you can see we have charging. So low temperature charging is a pass. Let's try high temperature. And there you go. So yeah, we disconnected on high and low temperature. So those 2 tests are a pass. This BMS is probably wondering, we're going from hot to cold to hot to cold. There you go. And we've re-engaged charging. So these 2 are passed. Now let's go over and do a capacity test on this battery. Okay, and I'm ready to start my discharge test. As you can see here on the app, it says 105 out of 100 amp hours. This battery is rated for 105 amp hours. You can see the temperatures there. It's a little bit colder in my garage. I keep it about 10 degrees Celsius, but that shouldn't affect this test. See there our voltage or amperage, our cell differential, which is great. You can see there it's 0.013, which is really good at the full state of charge. That's where you want them to be balanced, is at the top end. This app you can see state of health 100%, but let's get to the discharge test. So if I go to this screen here, you can see I haven't induced any voltage yet, and we are, it says 95%. Let's change that to 100. You can see at the bottom left, we have 0 amp hours. So this is going to accumulate how many amps run through this shunt, which is going to power this 48 volt inverter, which is going to hit a 48 volt battery charger, and then it is going to charge my larger battery bank. So I'm not wasting as much energy as if I'm just running lights or a fan. So I'm going to attempt to do a 0.2 C discharge rate, which is around 20 amps. This is an 18 amp charger. It's probably going to push out maybe 16, 17 amps. So it's going to be a bit below a 0.2 C discharge rate. But nonetheless, maybe I'll plug something else into this and boost it up. Actually, I can do that. Okay, so now I've added in a bench power supply so I could fine tune to try and get the 0.2 C discharge rate, or even a little higher. But let's pre-charge the resistors. You can see there the voltage shooting up. Okay, it's been long enough. Now I'm going to turn the breaker on. Let's turn that on. So I'm going to wait for that charger to start up. Oh, and actually I don't even need to use this. That's perfect right there, 20.48. Okay, I don't even need to use this guy. I'm going to let this test run and we'll see if we get our 105 amp hours out of this Cloud's Power battery. golf cart battery. So I'll be back in roughly 5 hours. And you can see there, we're done the discharge test and we got 103.522, which is lower than the stated 105 amp hours on the battery. You can see there, we have disconnect. You can tell that by it's only showing 4.22 volts there. It may reconnect as I'm talking. And you can see here, so we have peak under voltage and then low stated charge alarm, which I did hear. I was probably, I think it was about 10% state of charge, and then I heard an alarm on this little display. It was beeping off. So the cells, you can see we don't have a very big differential, but it needs to be at the upper end of the voltage that we need to have a lower cell differential. Battery still hasn't kicked back in. As soon as I put a charger on it, it'll the BMS will reconnect and then it'll start charging. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for this Clouds Power review. Now, I was unable to achieve the 105 amp hours, but I do believe that's because the cells just need to be balanced, and I'll probably squeak out that extra couple of amp hours to reach the full capacity. Other than that, this battery looks pretty good. I would use it, I would buy it, and I would recommend it. So I'll leave links in the description for the website, and I'll leave you with that. Thank you for watching. Bye.